What's up, guys? It's Lugo back with Flex Appeal episode 87. Today was week 15, day two. I had squats today, had a top set of four with 308 pounds, man, and some back down sets of four with 275. Today is the peak of volume for fours, the end of the 3 week wave. And honestly, man, I felt really strong coming in. Position felt really locked in. And I feel like for the last week or two, maybe three, I was kind of like lacking on my mobility. Not only my upper body, but also my farmer squats that I do. Um, and I definitely noticed it, especially like in my upper body doing it again. I'm able to like get my elbows under the bar more than I was able to in like a week or two ago because of the shoulder dislocations I've been doing. I've kind of like laxed on the external rotation stuff because I felt like I was kind of jamming my elbows too hard and like cranking my shoulder. So I kind of laxed on it, but here is my top set of four with 308. I do believe this moved pretty well, and I felt like my form was pretty good on probably like three of the four, like the first three, and then I kind of lost focus a little bit on the fourth one. But as far as like how it moved, pretty good. I'm very, very happy with how these are moving. Um, Dealing with like a little bit of a, I don't know if it's like my knees a little bit aggravated or a little bit irritated. It's like inflamed, not hurting, but just kind of like something to be wary of, But it didn't hinder me from doing this. Just kind of, it's just kind of very inflamed. So maybe a little bit cautious, but I kind of just pushed everything today. Again, chopping volume. I took a set off of pendulum squats because I was like, okay, I'm doing 5 sets of back squats today. I'm just gonna do two on pendulum and then my leg extensions for to keep healthy. And so just adjusting the volume in different places, I think is doing me well, so that I don't end up being too beat up. Because again, I have a full week and I have five more sets of strength work on my compounds on the latter half of this week. So just managing intra week fatigue well, I believe. And it definitely shows, right, with how these are moving and that it's not spilling over too hard. Especially, I've talked about this a lot. Like being low on calories is one of the things where I have to be extra careful, right? I have to turn over every stone. I have to do what I need to do, in and out of the gym to make sure that everything goes well, and especially sleep because if I sleep less, MRV suddenly comes up a lot, and I'm hitting that during the training week. But man, I'm really happy with how these squats are moving and how they're looking. I've said it before, but like definitely like feel this is probably some of the best squat training I've gotten in a long time, and I'm just so locked in, and I've really dialed my headspace into like I have to be a good squatter. Because before I was like, okay, I kind of like squatting, but I'm a better deadlifter. And then I got my head dialed in for bench where I was like, I don't want to have a weak bench, I really want to have a strong bench. And squat was always like in the middle where it's like I don't hate doing legs, but I feel like the mentality that I had for being a good squatter, it wasn't like there. I was like, okay, I'm gonna progress my squat, but my deadlift's always gonna be stronger. And I was like, okay, you know what? I need to like pull back on my deadlift a little bit so that my squat can go up because it's such a big portion of your total. And so I need to just like really lock in my form and visualize, okay, I need to take certain things from different squatters so that I can become a good squatter, right? Part of that is a good brace, good upper rack or shoulder rack on the bar, and then understanding that okay, I have a little bit of a wider structure, even when I get lighter, I have stronger hips and I just have bigger bones, so that is going to allow me to go maybe on my stance a little bit wider. And I also have a strong back, so I'm going to have to hinge a little bit more relative to other people. And so far, I think that that has definitely paid dividends. It's kind of like customizing my squat a lot more to myself. I think the thing that I can improve on, which I've talked about on my next block, I'm gonna do is go back to flats because although I think that the more positive, better shin angle with the squat shoes, I do notice that I'm having like an imbalance hip shift because I can't really balance as well as I want to with heels as I can in flats. And I obviously don't want to change a lot because it does kind of change the feel of squat and where my strength is. Um, a little bit. I feel a little bit more in glutes and my posterior chain in general. So I think that in the next block I will probably go to flats. I don't think that I will lose strength, but I don't want to risk anything while I'm, in this strength to peaking phase, especially like the last 4 or 5 weeks of this block where the performance is pretty. I have to get this weight, and then I could swap out. But next block it's gonna be quite different. My squat, I feel like, because I'm probably gonna put sleeves on. I'm definitely gonna put my belt on, and I'm putting flats on. So there's three variables that are changing. Although I think that I'm probably gonna get a lot stronger because of that. I'm gonna have to be careful because of when you have such a rapid increase in strength and just become stronger, you can kind of like hurt yourself if you're not careful. But again, I'm going to be doing hypertrophy probably for like another 6 weeks before I even dip into any strength. So we're going to be building back pretty good with significantly better numbers just starting the block off, because this is kind of like the comeback block as far as, building everything. My technique, my strength, and I'm just really happy, man. Like I thought about uh stopping the series because I was like, the engagement is not where I want it to be. But honestly, I kind of just like talking about my training, even though it's not the most entertaining thing in the world. I happen to believe that okay, if there's other people like me that really like training and that really like watching other people training, they'll tune in. Even if it's not the most entertaining thing in the world. And, I'm not a flashy person. I don't do all the YouTube stuff. I just like really hard training and really technical, intricate training. And so I'm just kind of like letting you dive into my mind a little bit on this stuff that I'm trying to do to become a better lifter and to become aware, all around more well balanced lifter. But that's pretty much it, guys. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, a comment, or a subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow for day 3 and some deadlifts. Hopefully, I can hit something pretty good. Thanks for watching.